But if you are not choosy, if you're not picky when it comes to the job, definitely you will be able to find something. And is it hard to get in? Hello everyone, this is me again, Fajardo. Hindi tayo pababayaan ng Canada.
Kita nyo yan guys, para ako nag-golf. Hi guys!
Mag-video daw si Kiko.
Let's explore Buhay!
Hello everyone, this is me again, Fajardo, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, we will talk about the possible jobs a student might be able to get when you arrive here in PI, Canada. But before that, we have a few shout outs to make. We would like to thank Kira Brima for watching salary in Canada versus Singapore. We would also like to give a huge shout out to Sandy Pangan for watching Practice English with Us, IELTS Speaking Test, and Canada Apartment Tour. We would also like to thank Arnie Duzon and Ricardo Sison. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos about PEI. Just a very quick disclaimer, guys. The tips that I'm gonna be sharing with you are the ones that I noticed prior to COVID. So as you may know, there's a lot of changes that's happening. So to be very frank, I don't think anybody knows how we will come out of this pandemic. I'm just gonna share with you like pre-COVID, what are the possible jobs, and definitely it will happen. It's just a matter of when it's gonna be. I hope that these tips might help you and might give you an idea if you feel like being a student in PI Canada is suitable for you. You came in Canada as a student and you wanted to support yourself for your basic needs and for your house, for your food, and all those stuff. So first question is, what kind of job can you get when you arrive in PEI as a student? There's a bunch of jobs here in PEI, especially during summers. Reason is because PEI is one of the tourist destinations in Canada, primarily because we have a lot of beaches, and at the same time it's a lot cheaper as compared to other places in Canada and in the US. To think that main border of Canada and US is quite close, so people from the United States also comes here for vacation, for holiday, to just spend some leisure time in the beach. So there's definitely a lot of jobs, especially during summer. But given that it's tourist based, of course it will definitely be more on the food and beverage industry. You can get part-time jobs in small food chain stores or on restaurants. Let me just name a few of the popular chain stores that maybe you might want to apply into as a part-timer. Of course, Domino's Pizza. There's also Subway, there's also Pizza, there's Dairy Queen, and there's a bunch of restaurants close to the downtown, which is close to Holland, that hires and that requires laborers or workers, especially during summers. Besides that, there are supermarkets like Superstore, or you can try Walmart, or there's also Subways. First place are the food chains, that's number one. Second thing are the supermarkets. Third are the manufacturing industry. So besides food industry, supermarket, there are also some manufacturing companies who's looking for part-timers. So definitely that's another one. There's also nursing homes. So I know a few students who's working in the healthcare industry. That's another one. There are very few offices who's looking for student part-timers. Quite few. I barely know anyone who's working in the office as a part-timer, but there is. I knew someone, but there's not really a bunch of them. But if you are not choosy, if you're not picky when it comes to the job, definitely you will be able to find something. And is it hard to get in? It depends on your personality. I don't think it's tough. I think it's kind of easy, but then it depends on your personality, and always try to find connections. Someone might know someone who's working in there who can give you a bit of recommendation. You can do it on your own, but if you want it on the easier way and if you really need it, there's no harm in asking a bit of a favor from someone, from a friend, from someone you know. How much would be the salary? It depends on the actual job. If I'm not mistaken, minimum salary here in PI should go around 13-ish, around there, around that range. So it really depends on the company that you're working with. As I've mentioned earlier, if, for instance, it's summer, it's kind of good to get as much of a schedule as you want, especially if you're working in the food and beverage industry. There are tips as well, so definitely that's a plus. Now, if you're thinking that's not actually related to what I'm taking, or that's not related to the course that I want, I'm taking accounting, or I'm taking engineering, I'm taking whatever it is, whatever course, whatever subject, whatever course of study you wanted to study and you wanted to practice that, I think it's kind of tough in the beginning. For example, you're studying accountancy and you want to practice that. You're gonna choose between practicing your course or getting your PR. Why did I say that? Most of the offices, from what I have noticed, most of the offices here in PEI does not support PR application. Like in my case, my company wouldn't hire me if I'm not on open work permit. They wouldn't help me process my paper. They couldn't help me process my PR. So it only because I'm on open work permit that they hired me. If, for example, after your studies and you plan to work in an accounting firm or something like that, if they would not support, you also have to consider the aftermath. What's gonna happen next? Okay, I'm gonna work for this company because it's related to what I studied, but would they be able to support my PR, or are there any alternative pathway that I can get without my employer supporting my application? So those are the questions, those are the intelligent questions that you have to ask yourself when finding a job while you're a student and after your graduation as well. One good thing about married students is that while you're a student, your spouse, your partner, would be allowed to work on a full-time job, mostly on an open work permit. So that means that there's no limitation as to, there is still a limitation, but they're more open to whatever kind of job. There are some restrictions, like for me, I'm on an open work permit, but I'm not allowed to work in spa, massage, like that, therapy or whatever. It's stated on my work permit for some reason. I'm not so sure. There are some limitations to the open work permit, but it's definitely a lot more flexible than a closed work permit. A closed work permit, you're only allowed to work for that specific company, but if you're on open work permit, you can find whatever kind of job you wanted so long as it's legal and it's not restricted on your work permit. If I am a student and my spouse has an open work permit, while I'm a student, he will be allowed to work full-time job, and at the same time, it's a good time for him to find an employer who will be able to support our PR application. For example, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, which, guys, is expiring soon. So if you want to try AIPP or the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, you better act accordingly, act fast, try to find your employer soon. Of course, with the COVID, I understand it's tough. We just make do of what we have. Going back to the topic, that's the advantage of married students, because their spouse, before I even graduated, my spouse probably find a way for us to become a PR. It's always an advantage to bring your better half with you. If you're alone, you're single, don't lose hope, because you can still do it yourself. While you're a student, you try to find an employer, say a restaurant, or preferably a designated employer under AIPP, so that they'll be able to help you get your permanent residence. Or you can try to search for other ways on how you can become a PR. You can continue your full-time education. After that, say 2 years of education would give you 3 years of postgraduate work permit. I think 3 years will be more than enough for you to be able to find a way for you to be settled, for you to settle here in PEI. Don't worry guys, there's a number of work you can apply in when you're already inside PEI and when you're a student. You can even apply on the school itself. If I'm not mistaken, some schools support their own students to settle down, to say if you want to work in the registrar's office or as an HR, you can do like a student assistant thingy. So I think some schools do that. UPEI does that. Holland, I'm not so sure, but I think they would. And always, as I've mentioned, always try to find connections, and if you can, join groups. There's a lot of groups that supports newcomers in PEI, so definitely join them. It's not really tough to find a job in PEI. It's kind of easy, especially right now, because a lot of workers that are supposed to come are not able to come. So there's a bit of shortage in workers. So if you're a student who's already in PEI, you're lucky because there's a lot of job all over the island. So grab that chance to find whatever job you wanted to find. Don't be that picky, I guess. Everyone starts from the bottom. It's good if you can find something that is good already from the beginning, but that's not always the case. So just be prepared to work for some maybe blue collar jobs here and there, this and that kind of job. So long as it's legal, so long as it's providing for you, then that is fine. Now, the thing is that in most cases, the money that you're going to be earning from your part-time jobs will not be sufficient for you to pay for your next tuition fee. So I would not recommend that you come here empty-handed without the tuition fee for the next school year. So make sure that you have your money for your tuition fee handy with you. It's okay that you may want to work part-time for your daily expenses, but it's not good that you work part-time for your tuition fee. That's my opinion. I mean, it will make your life easier. If you don't have it, it's still possible, but it's just tougher. It depends on you. So that's pretty much everything. If you have any questions about finding a job or the cost or whatever it is that you have in mind that you need some help with, please feel free to comment in the description box below and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you on the next vlog. Bye!